Welcome to our audience on Globespan 24x7 as we continue our Monday night program. We want to thank you, our audience, for joining us tonight. We want to thank Nohar Singh for making this platform available, and of course, Devian Bisu, our technical specialist. Today we start at 7 o'clock New York time, which is 8 o'clock Guyana's time. But next Saturday in the US and some part of the world, the clock is going forward. So it means that we will be the same time with Guyana. So from next Monday, our program will begin at 7:30 Guyana and New York time. So we will be on par. This week, it's 8 o'clock in Guyana. It's 7 o'clock here in the United States. This evening, we want to thank our two honored guests. We were trying to get a Mulvi to be on to represent the Muslim community, but we were unsuccessful. We tried to get a couple of them, but they were unavailable. So our apologies for not having a Mulvi on tonight, but we are honored to have with us Apostle Mark McAllister, Apostle of the Kingdom of Dominion. Apostle, welcome to the program tonight.
Yes, thank you.
And also it's our pleasure to have Pandit Rabindranath Prasad, former Integrity Commissioner and National Farmer Coordinator, the Ministry of Agriculture. Pandit, welcome tonight again.
Thank you very much for allowing me this program.
Okay. Now, gentlemen, you are both leaders in your own community. We are all Guyanese by birth, but of course, we follow different spiritual paths. Some of us are Christians, some are Hindu, some are Muslims, some are no religion at all, and that's also part of our country. So maybe we can start with Apostle McAllister. Tell us what role does Christianity play in the lives of the Guyanese people?
All right. Well, Christianity plays a very pivotal role in the lives of the Guyanese. When we look at our constituency and the belief of most of the Guyanese, it's more of a Christian or Christianity background belief. So we got that from the colonials, bringing it into the nations, and England being one time ruling Guyana, and they were a part of the Christian religion. So with that, many of the laws of Guyana from the early was formed and molded after the Christianity religion.
Excellent, Apostle. And as you rightly said, when the British came, I guess before that, anybody, maybe Pandit can come and help us here. Before the British came to Guyana, was there a religion in Guyana that is in our history books? I can't recall.
Well, if you study, thank you once again. If you studied our history, especially Guyanese history, Guyana history, you will find that before the Indians came, there were other people from the Portuguese, the Chinese. You have many other people came here before. Guyana was never ruled by one of the monarchies. You had to say out of the 5 mother countries. You had Dutch, you had French, you had English, you had so many people. So obviously, those who were here before would have had something which they had to hold on to.
Yeah, but Pandit, I'm trying to get back before that. Like when the Americans alone were there, before the British came and Columbus, discovered the New World. Was there a religion in Guyana before that? Do we know?
There would have never been a religion, but definitely there would have been a culture. there would have been a culture because everybody has their own culture, whether Amerindian, East Indian, African, Chinese, everybody has a culture. They brought something with them. So whether the culture was intertwined with anything else, we don't know. But definitely, the Amerindians were here, they had a culture.
But Bishop, I mean, Apostle, do you know if the Amerindians had a religion at that time?
No, not to my knowledge. But when the colonial masters came, and if we check way back in the interior, a lot of the Amerindians were influenced by Christianity. Though they had the culture, everybody, as Pandit say, they came with the culture. But when it came to religion, even the Amerindians were influenced in a great way by Christianity.
Okay. Pandit, you heard apostles saying that with the arrival of the British and with their their Christianity, most of the Africans that came first, and then after that the Portuguese and the Chinese, and followed by the Indians, most of the Africans stayed in the Christian religion given to them by the British. How does, in your view, does Hinduism play a part in molding the nation of Guyana that came traditionally from India?
Well, let me make it very clear that in our history, it is documented. People never had wanted to abandon their religion so far as to, or to walk away from the religion, but they were to be blessed with a job in Guyana, you had to be a Christian. Your name, for example, if it is Beni Sham, it would have been Benji Sam. They change your name, they change your religion, they change everything, the language, they did everything. But nevertheless, the Hindus, they stuck on to what they had. They held on, they were fused to their culture. And because their culture is intertwined with their dharma or religion, that's what makes us survive. Or not only survive, we grow.
And that's a good point, Apostle, that Pandit is raising there, that I think the Indians, by and large, they kind of fought back against the British for the name change, as Pandit says. But largely in the African communities, they gave up their African name and they were given British names. Was that a mistake, you believe, our ancestors of African origin did? Were they forced to do it? What went on in that part of our history?
I believe they were forced to do that because they were slaves. The Indians, as the history book will show us, that they came as indentured slave. All right, so they had a little more freedom, but it was forced on the Africans to adopt the slave masters in the pool of the slave master that they were in or working for. They carry that slave master title. So basically, that is what happened according to what I've read in the history book.
And that is very true, Apostle, because as you rightly said, our African ancestors came through slavery and they really had no right or they were not given any dignity compared to the indentured laborers, as you said, as Indians, who were treated almost like slaves, but at least they had some more dignity given to them than the Africans. Now, both of you gentlemen, you are leader of your own respective religion. Why is it that Guyana is so divided, even not only in ethnic lines, but along religious lines as well? I mean, what is responsible for that?
If you allow me to speak on this, I think you have a wrong perception.
Okay.
We are never divided. We were never divided. Maybe sometimes, but I am thinking right now as I'm sitting with you, Guyana is more unified than ever before. So the question of being divided is not religiously, not at all, because we celebrate Easter, we celebrate Christmas, we celebrate all the Christian holidays. There's a national holiday here for the Muslim holidays as well, for Eid and so forth. The Christians, they celebrate Pagwa, they celebrate Deepavali, they celebrate all our festivals. We are very much very much unified. I want to say, and to somebody to tell me that we are divided, I would not accept that very easily. We were never, we are never, and we will never be. Because I am telling you, from my point of view, the Hindus don't have space, any space at all, or any tolerance for division of our society. We embrace social cohesion, social cooperation, because that is one of the wheels of the cycle of creation.
And Pandit, you know, some people not. I mean, that's your view, right? And I'm glad you mentioned.
I am not talking about people, I'm talking about myself, because everybody will have their views. For example, right now people will have their views pertaining to NATO and to Russia, that their rights, their views, their choices. I don't have anything with that. But for somebody to tell me Guyana is divided, I will tell them no.
Okay, and that's a fair point, and I wouldn't disagree with you, but I'm saying that others might not necessarily agree with you. Apostle, what do you think? Is Guyana divided?
Guyana, I believe, has come a long way, but I believe that we're still divided. When you look at when you say that, all right, I'm a Guyanese, or many times we say we are a Guyanese, we still have some ethnic flair about that. But I believe when we say we are a Guyanese, despite of what ethnic background you might come from, you know, we should not put it in a way to say, all right, I'm this, I'm that. We are all Guyanese, and I believe that needs to hammer home a little bit. When I look, as Pandit says, the Christians and everybody celebrate everybody holidays. I will have a little slant to that, though that might be partially true. Active Christianity and partial Christianity is two different things. When you're really active and following the biblical standards, there are things that you will accept or embrace very strong, and things that you will not embrace very strong, because every holiday has its roots in something. All right, so I believe what happened is just not in the belief. Many times people celebrate different holidays, but just in the fun and as a Guyanese thing.
Dr. Rose?
But if I should say this, but when it comes to us breaking down our belief, many times we cannot stand up. We will be divided.
Good evening, Apostle McAllister, and good evening, Pandit Rabindranath Prasad. I will echo what my colleagues have just said. We tried many times to get an imam, and it was unsuccessful. So we apologize to the Muslim community for not having someone here tonight. But Apostle McAllister, I just need to know some background. How long have you've been an apostle?
I've been an apostle about 12 years now.
And Pandit? Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
And but I was active in church as a pastor. The apostle calling is just another step up of a higher calling.
Okay. I was just going to ask you that. Can you explain the difference between an apostle and a pastor? Which one is higher, which one is lower?
All right. An apostle, as the Bible says, he is given to the church first apostles, prophets, pastors, and teachers and evangelists. So the apostle is the one that governs the church. Just like how you have the president, and then you have the prime minister. And according to our constitution, the president is the highest ranking official in government. So in Christianity, or in the apostolic church, the apostle is the highest ranking official, because it's a gifting.
Pandit Prasad, can you give us a background of yourself? I know you've been in many different positions. Can you tell us something about yourself and how long you've been a Pandit?
Let me say this. My great-grandfather was a Pandit. My grandfather was, and this is both sides. My father is, I am, and now my son. So it's actually the 5th generation Pandits we are in now. I have been practicing this over 40 years.
Okay. Now, the Hindus, they worship the Vishnu and the Shiva. What is the Vishnu? What is the Shiva? Can you tell those who don't understand or don't know?
I think that question you're asking it.
Why are you breaking up? We're not hearing you.
Yeah. We believe in what you're talking about, Vishnu and Shiva. There is what you call the Trinity almost in Christianity. I think they have the Trinity as well. But in Trinity here, what we talk about created force, the sustaining force, and the regenerating force, because nothing is static, everything is dynamic. The only thing is that everything in the universe is divided into 3. Whether you're talking about regions, we talk about the lower, the intermediate, the higher regions. If you talk about the way we behave, we talk about the mode of ignorance, the mode of passion, and the mode of goodness. If you talk about our body, we talk about physical body, we talk about astral body, we talk about causal body. If you talk about the what you call it, in time, we talk about yesterday, today, or tomorrow, the past, present, and future. For us, Trinity is that. Trinity encompasses everything. Trinity is everything. There is not one person that said, okay, in the aspect of creation, we name him Brahma. In the aspect of sustenance, we name him Vishnu. In the aspect of regenerating, we say Shiva. But if you look at the trident, all 3 comes down on one thing. In fact, Hindu Dharma, we believe Isa was midam sarve yat kincham jagata jagat. There is nothing but one.
Okay. Let me just continue along this line. We have the Brahim, we have the Chatri, and we have the Madras. Do they all worship the same maker?
Everybody in Hindu Dharma, I want to let you know this again. Hindu Dharma does not impose anything on anybody. Everybody has a choice. Everybody does their ritual. If brushing your teeth in the morning is good for you, you'll continue. If bathing is a ritual, you do it. If breakfast is a ritual, you do it. Whatever they're doing and it is good for them, let them do it.
But do they do the same worship as?
And if I am doing it and it's good for me, I will continue doing it. So everybody has their own traditions, own belief, own culture. Nevertheless, as I've said before, maybe different aspect, different ways of worship. It's like going into the ocean, many streams, many rivers, but one place we are all going one place, to one source, irrespective of color, creed, caste, religion. There is one source we have come from and one source we'll be going back to, and that is a what you call an inevitable principle. That is the reason the Hindu said Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The universe is one family. We are not different from anything else. Atma sarva bhutesho yaha pashyati sa pashyati. He who sees himself in everything alone sees. If you don't see yourself in your enemy, therefore you are blind. If you don't see yourself in another person of another religion, another distinction, another caste, therefore we are blind. We have to see if God, because God is omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent, is in everything. The knowledge is also, we have to see God in everything, every sphere. We are not confined to see God in one thing or one place.
Apostle McAllister, Guyana has a population of roughly 30% Afro-Guyanese, but the Christian population in Guyana is 64%, which indicates that there are a lot of Hindus who are Christians. 25% of the population in Guyana are Hindus, 7% Muslims. Can you explain to me the reason for attracting Hindus to becoming Christians?
Well, I would say not only Hindus, but make it broad, which will include Hindus too. The whole thing is that because of the manifestation, it's like what the Bible spoke about the prophets of Baal, when Elijah came up too. All right, and basically what happened, they were put to test. They were put to the test, and Elijah prevailed over the prophets of Baal. Now, people, I believe there is a great manifestation and convincing power that changes the lives of people. And I believe because of that, of experience that persons had or have gotten, they've decided to change. Whether I answer Christianity, the Hindus coming over to Christianity, there's a basic principle that what convinces you will attract you. And I believe it was a convincing experience for Hindus, Muslims, those who are not Christians, that they came to Christianity.
Pandit Prasad, let me ask you the same question. Hindus make up 40% of the population. Given the fact that Muslims are 7% and Hindus are 25%, what is the reason for that shortfall? Why there are only 25% Hindus?
That may be your figures. I don't know whether it's fictitious or whether it's true, but I would want to let you know there are approximately 260 mandirs countrywide in Guyana. Each one of them has a pandit and they have leaders. More than that, each one of these mandirs celebrate their festivals. Each one of the mandir is yoked to their Hindu calendar activities. So to talk about population-wise, we are not interested in how many people going across and how many people coming across. That's not our policy. Hindu Dharma does not advocate that you're free. Salvation is not it does not happen by one means. A man could be an atheist and be salvated. A man could be a non-believer and could enjoy freedom and emancipation. A man can believe in God and still go to hell. So the point that I want to make is that we are very clear that once we have something you call the principles, the 5 basic principles, universal principles which governs life. And if you follow those 5 principles, anybody could follow them. Christian, Hindus, Muslim, white, young, old, they're basic principles which could be followed or embraced, and you live a very perfect life. God is to say, well, okay, you have to believe in God to be salvated. I would not take that, because Hindu Dharma does not allow us to accept any unproven conclusions. It cannot be no dogmatic kind of expression is being accepted. Absolutely none. Only proven conclusions. So you will find that things that are untrue they pedal very fast. Gossips pedal very fast. Untrue things pedal very fast. Truth is the last thing that will be accelerated. So you will find if you become very truthful in your life and very honest in your life, all your friends will walk away from you. All your friends will walk away from you. But if you have something to give them physically every single day, they will stay with you.
Can you explain to our listeners what are some of the basic principles of Hinduism?
All right, let me say, the first one is called Satya. It's called truth. I could deny God, but I could never deny the truth. For me, truth transcends God. And that goes for everybody. You can never deny the truth, but you can deny God. A lot of people did that already, and they're still doing that. The other one is what you call ahimsa, non-violence. We don't believe in hurting anybody, because by hurting people, you're hurting yourself. Because Hindu dharma is governed by what you call the rebounding law of nature, that there is nothing to help you or to save you when you have committed all these atrocities and so on. Nothing goes unpaid. And that is one of the things I really believe in. I'm forming my conviction. It has quite a lot of truth in it. And so we accept that principle of being non-violent, non-injury. The third one is, it's called dhriti, firmness in your conviction. Whatever you do, be firm. Be very, very firm in what you do. Enjoy what you do. Love what you do. Have a passion for what you do. And execute your duty for duty's sake. Nothing else. Only for duty's sake. He who executes his duty for duty's sake, because duty is considered to be higher than worship, is the highest type of worship. So if you tell me to go and pray in front of the altar of 1,000 days, and I know I could benefit a little from that. But if you tell me to cross an old man, take an old man or a blind person across the street 100 times, I know I will be benefiting more, because I'm executing my duty as been expected as a human being. So let me tell you the 5 principles. The first one is called Devayagna. Never ever forget that we are product of one supreme God. Every single moment of my life, I have to thank God. I have to thank him for allowing me to talk to you right now, because without his presence, without his intervention, I am nothing. So we call that Devayag. The second one is called Naryag. We are living gregariously. We are living in a social world. We are living as human beings. We cannot live like animals anymore. We have transcended that. We have to live, and that is called Naryag. If you can't make a friend, don't make an enemy. And that's a powerful principle. Every single day, try to make a friend. Don't create enmityship. The third one is called Pitriyagna. I know God through the sacrifice of my parents. Had it not been for my mother, my father, my grandmother, my grandfather, I don't think I will ever know God. I have seen God through their sacrifices. And Hindu Dharma, we believe that we should never pay any disrespect, disregard. We should always love. We should always honor their sacrifices and remember their sacrifices and do much more than they would have done as parents and grandparents. And that one is called Pitriyagna. There's one called Bhut Yagna, meaning that lower beings, we cannot exist without lower beings. Today they're talking about conservation and preservation of wildlife and all these things. The Hindu Dharma advocated that thousands and thousands of years ago. Without them, we cannot exist. Without plants, we cannot exist. If I tell you food is my God, you will doubt me. Because in our scripture, in our Bhagavad Gita, it is said, from yagna come rain, rain come crops, crop come food. From food, all beings evolved. These are the prescribed words of the Vedas, and the Vedas has its origin in that creator. So food make me what I am. And that is the reason maybe I'm an agriculturist. I am a food, I grow with food, I live with food, or survive with food, and when I die, I will become food again, because I go back to the energy. So lower beings contributed tremendously to our life and our existence, so we should not disregard them, we should not be violent against them, we should not hurt them. And the fifth one is called Rishi Yagna. This is very, very important. Rishi Yagna, we are actually all our texts, the Bhagavad Gita, the Ramayana, the Satnarayan, and all the texts, we are products of our souls and our rishis. So we must pay tribute to those who would have shared their experiences, spiritual experiences with us. If we can remember those 5 things, always thank God, never forget to honor your parents, grandparents, and elder, never make enemy, always be friendly, love your God-created beings, and more so, we talk about Rishi Yagnas, thank those who have preserved and give us a wonderful legacy.
Okay, before that, my colleague comes in, a question to you. Is alcohol, consumption of alcohol, tolerated among Hindus? Religion?
Again, this is something while you may see it as, let us say, prevalent, we want to use the word prevalent, in our system, in our scriptures, it says, eat that and consume that which is healthy and good for your body, because your body is the vehicle that will take you through the road of this road of existence. If you or me wants to use drugs, if we want to use alcohol, we want to speed on the road, we want to abuse people, then remember, we are not doing, it is adverse to our own physical well-being, and also it will create what you call an adverse impact on the social, on the community as at large. So our Bhagavad Gita clearly states, do not eat or consume that which is tamasic, meaning that which is adverse to your health.
Charles?
Apostle, we listened to Pandit, very eloquent talk on his, the wisdom that he has imparted on us. Like Christianity, the Bible says that your body is a temple of the living God. And as Pandit just mentioned, that we should put into this body that which is healthy and good. In the Christian community, there's a lot of debate of what they eat and what they drink. Why is that a debate when the Bible instructs that your body is a temple of God and you should take care of God's temple?
All right. What you eat, what you drink in Christianity, there are different religion or different sector of Christianity, just like the Hindus, just like the Muslim. So what really someone holds on strong to, what point in the Bible someone holds on strong to, or what background you're coming from. Joe, we are reading the same Bible. We debate on different things, and which we call doctrines. Every organization have a strong stand on something or many things, more than one. And because of that standing, that's why there is different views and things that are said by different Christianity religion or Christian religion.
An apostle is not one of the, I don't want to say it's a problem or one of the challenge in the Christian community is that, I mean, all of us grew up in Guyana. Right. And I grew up in La Grange on the West Bank. And in my village, there was one Hindu temple in my street, and there was one on the public road. There was one Muslim mosque on the head of the street. But there are like 10, 12 Christian churches, different denominations. Why is the Christian religion so divided and rightly said among different doctrine against different things when you read the same Bible?
All right, the Bible tells us that we are one but different members. And as I said, when you check in the Bible, there's different roots that Christianity or God was presented to the people. The Judaism, there is the Sabbath keeping people, there's a Sunday keeping people. But in the same Bible, as I said before, people hold on to a particular trend and they make it that the fundamental way they live or they choose to live or shape their religious life. So that religion of itself, it shows us that there will be division in religion. Put aside Christianity, what? Religion of itself. Christianity is just one of the religion that has different facets of it or different ways. If I should remember Dr. Rose asking Pandit if all the Hindus worship the same way. All right? And Pandit was saying, well, everybody choose how if they feel to go out in the water or do this, but they point to one person. And that is what religion does. And so many times we're saying one God, but we serve in different ways. So it is telling us that religion really is not the ultimate thing for me. It's not the ultimate thing. It's just a way of men finding or trying to serve God and worship God in their best of knowledge.
Why would you say, and we go to a break after this, Apostle, Jesus prayed that to his Father, that I pray that these are one. I guess he talked about the people who believe in him, that these should be one, even that you and I are one. But the Christian church is not one. It's many, as you said, one body but many parts. But I thought he was thinking of the body being with the hand, with the feet, with the head, with the, with the heart. The same many parts make up the same body. Are we putting the same thing within the Christian community, that you have all these denominations and all these different branches of Christianity that believe different things? And how do you reconcile that, Apostle?
All right, let me say first, being one is not being same. We can say, as Pandit said, we are one as Guyanese. We are not divided, but we are not the same. We must learn to appreciate and see a way how we can work together. It's like everybody have the rules in their own house. And some persons say here, when you're coming up the step from the first treadle, just how you put left your shoes there. Then you come up, some houses, people say, all right, you just out your foot in front of the door and you leave your shoes there. Some people walk in the house. Everybody have the rules. But when you come, what I believe is needed. If I have my rule, when you come to my house, follow my rules. I'm the head. I'm the authority there. When I come to your house, follow the rules. And I believe if we can do things like that, we will have more unity, oneness, but not sameness. And it will bring a better working relationship.
Well said, Apostle. We'll take a short commercial break, Pandit and Apostle, and we'll come back as soon as the break is over. Audience, don't go nowhere. We'll be right back.
Announcing Curry Duck Curry Competition 2022 in Cancun, Mexico.
Hey, y'all take y'all eyes on past week? Last year, y'all take all my cousins to Punta Cana and slaughter them. I drink and sport up. Now y'all want to take another set of us to Cancun? Well, yes. And now y'all taking Raymond Ramnarine, Terry G plus Tassa. Okay, y'all take Raymond, Terry and the Tassa and go along your way.
Break it down, dee down, ding. Break it down, Break it down, dee down, ding. Hey yo, my sweetheart, say I'm addicted to you.
Make it a family and friends reunion. Curry Duck Curry Competition 2022 in Cancun, Mexico on July 28th to August 1st. For more info, call Travelspan at 212-243-0865. In Canada, call 647-557-6200. In Trinidad, call Amerals at 645-1604. And in Guyana, 227-1701, or visit us at travelspan.com.
The Curry Roti Box is now available. Select your meal. Choose from chicken, duck, goat, or lamb curries, plus pepper pot, chicken tikka masala, lamb vindaloo, and roti. Your choice and your selection. Make up your own Curry Roti Box. We will ship directly to your home or job. Unbox your favorite curries, rotis, pastries, plus order your favorite West Indian sodas and much, much more on allfromonesupplier.com. Treat yourself or send the Curry Roti Box as a gift. Curry Roti Box is available with free shipping to all U.S. states and free delivery in New York. Order now your favorite curries, your fish, meats, pastries, sodas, and much more. Get all your West Indian and Indian food, plus your West Indian groceries from allfromonesupplier.com. It's free delivery and free shipping. Log on to allfromonesupplier.com and place your order today, or call 718-551-3292. Again, that's allfromonesupplier.com. Dave West Indian Products is the only distributor of 100% authentic West Indian products. Dave West Indian supplies fish, vegetables, curry, spices, sodas, and coconut water, plus ghees and much more straight from Guyana and the Caribbean. For all your shopping needs, visit Dave's Guyana Fish and Grocery Market. Dave West Indian products are also available in West Indian stores, Key Food, and allfromonesupplier.com. Dave West Indian has a full line of the most desirable products to fit all your needs. So visit Dave Guyana Fish and Grocery Market on 118th Street on Liberty Avenue, or in Maryland at 7505 New Hampshire Ave, or any West Indian stores, or allfromonesupplier.com. Dave West Indian, your 100% authentic West Indian product. Folks, the Nest Restaurant is the place to dine for Guyanese and Caribbean dishes. It is the best restaurant in Queens. The staff is courteous, and Dave, the owner, is always there to welcome you. So for a memorable dining experience, visit the Nest Restaurant located at 12717 101 Avenue, South Richmond Hill. Go and make a reservation today, or takeout. Call 718-847-4035. All From One Supplier is pleased to announce its online shipping for West.
Welcome back to our audience as we continue discussion on the impact of religion on the lives of Guyanese. We know most Guyanese have some religious belief, and we have with us this evening a representative of the Christian religion, Apostle Mark McAllister, and from the Hindu community, Pandit Rabindranath Prasad. We apologize again for not having an imam. We reached out to a couple of imams, but they could not make it. So for the Muslim community, our apologies. Pandit, I'm on a thread, one of these social media thread. And one of the comments that was made is that when Hindus are converted to other religion, that's an act of violence. What would you say about that, Pandit?
Let me get this clear. The path which a person or individual choose doesn't affect Hindu dharma at all. Absolutely not. We are not dealing with population. We are not dealing with figures. But what we are concerned with is that it's like somebody comes in at my door and tell me, here, I want you to listen to me for a few minutes, and then start to preach to me, started to tell me things, and starting to sell or market something. It's like marketing a religion. Hindu Dharma don't advocate that principle of marketing. Absolutely not, because we believe in dharma, and dharma is what you call the law of being, that which makes us exist. And it applies to everybody. And I want to get it very clear. This dharma of the sun is its energy. Without energy, no sun. The dharma of honey is sweet. Without sweet, there is no honey. The dharma of lime is sour. If it's sour, it can never be lime. And fragrance of flower, word and meaning, etc. So that which makes us exist is that what we believe in. It's not I have to believe or forced to believe, well, this is a prophet, this is Ram, this is Krishna, this is Allah, this is Christ. Or we can dismiss all of that and still become salvated or emancipated. We don't have to believe in something. All we have to do is to believe in ourselves. And those people who move from one to the next is really, they have lost their identity. In our Bhagavad Gita, it says, Kulasya pranashanti kul dharma sanatana dharmanashti kulam kritsam adharmava vibhavatyuta. What it means age-long family traditions disappear with the destruction of family. You know, the traditions and culture which kept us so much, it kept us, and it is keeping us on to today. And when we lose it, we lose age-long family tradition. We lose our family. Once I have my good friend, a Christian friend, very, very good friend, asked me about, marriages, whether my son could marry a Christian or a Christian. I said, I don't have a problem. What I have a problem with is how we are going to dilute our tradition and culture. Because dilution of tradition and culture, it means that we are going to, what now? We're going to take to something which you call dilution means an introduction of vice. An introduction of vices leads to the destruction of an entire system, an entire human civilization. So what worries is not that it is a violent act. I will say it is a violent act for somebody to go and to become a Christian, or somebody come and take me. But I am concerned of the man who loses his mind, loses his sense, loses his identity, because in Hindu Dharma, death is not the disintegration of the mortal coil. Death is one who loses his identity. So pathetic with the man who loses his identity.
But Pandit,
rather
why is
than the man who buys a person?
But Pandit, if people have freedom of choice and freedom of expression and freedom of will, and if I come to your door and I preach Islam to you, for instance, and you don't want to accept it, I'm not forcing you to change your religion to become a Muslim or a Christian. But that's if my belief is to tell you what I believe in, and if you want to accept it, is that violence? I'm not sure what violence really is in conversion.
You have violence does not necessarily mean physical too, you know.
Okay.
It does not mean physical. Because a lot of people who see it violence with physical.
I got you.
A lot of people do that.
So it's not a physical violence, it's just...
Absolutely not. You have psychological violence, you have verbal violence, you have mental violence, all kinds of violence.
I got you.
So I am, again, if you come to me and I am giving you some time to speak to me, and while I want to speak to you, you don't want to listen to me, what would I do then? I'll just tell you, please, I don't have more time, go your way.
Okay.
One of my concern is that religious people should not be going house to market religion. I think the best place for us to go is in the prisons. The best place to go is where people need rehabilitation. The places like hospitals. You don't go to a man's house and say, I want to talk to you for a moment.
Okay, that's your view, Pandit. I think Apostle might disagree. But before I ask Apostle to come on, Pandit, if based on what you have told us today and listen to the philosophy of Hinduism, and it's so deep and it's what you identified, different parts of it, why are Hindus leaving Hinduism and joining other religions like Christianity and Islam and so on?
I would like you to go now. Now, as you sit there, when you finish, go and Google. The Bhagavad Gita is being taught in England. Sanskrit is being taught in England. Germany is using it as a literature. Australia, 1,000. Even in Russia, where the war is, over 200,000 was embraced Hinduism this year only. You're talking about Guyana. I'm talking internationally, collectively in the world. A lot of people is gravitating now towards Hindu Dharma.
And I'm glad to hear that. So why are the Pandits in Guyana so upset when Hindus in Guyana convert to other religion?
I don't know if they are.
Maybe those people who convert in the West, they were Christians or something who convert to Hinduism. And in your book, that's fine, and I have no problem with that. But why is it a problem in Guyana or Trinidad when Hindus convert to Christianity or Islam?
I don't know if Pandits over there, or I went to in Trinidad at the National Gita Forum and I spoke here. Definitely there's an indication of depreciation in attendance at the function, but I wouldn't want to say, well, it is because of conversion, maybe any other activities. But nevertheless, it's a good question. I don't think that people should get angry when a person deviate or move, because a lot of Christian people comes over to Hindu Dharma, and that doesn't mean, that and my friends don't show me any bad face. We still integrate, we still dwell.
Apostle, do we have this discussion, and Pandit is here too, do we have this discussion among the religious community with pastors and pundits and Molvis, we come together and talk of things that unite us rather than things that divide us. Is that such an arrangement we have in Guyana among the different religions?
I don't believe so, but I believe it can happen. And many times we need to major on the major things and minor on the minor things. Many times we minor on the major things. And I believe if there's something in every religion that can bring us together and unite us. That's my belief. Now, if in the Bible, in James chapter 1, verse 27, it said, true religion and undefiled before God and the Father is this, to visit the fatherless and the widow in their affliction, and to keep himself on spot from the world. Now, true religion, we can talk about who worshiping who, how we worship, who's right and who's wrong. But Jesus leave a pattern for us to follow. Every time he ministered, he seek to minister to the holistic part of man or humanity. It is known in the Bible, in Matthew 25, that when he said here, you did not feed me, I was naked and you did not clothe me. And they said, oh, God, we never did that to you. He said, that when you did it, do this to the least, you're doing it unto me. Then we see again that Jesus, when he preached on the Mount of Olives, when he was finished, he ministered to the physical needs of the people. I believe, as James chapter 1, verse 27 speaks, if we can come together, there's so many moral breakdowns, there's so many people suffering in different ways. And if we as religious leaders can come together on that ground, because it's a common ground, it's a common stand, there are many common things that we can unite. And when we are looking for the government to change things, the real responsibility is the religious leaders to bring about that transformation. That is what true religion is all about.
But Apostle, isn't the religious leaders, whether it's the priests, the pundits, the mulvis, are they not responsible to an extent to the division of our people? I know Pandit said there's no division, but I mean, look at the Hindu community. It's divided among the Hindu Dharmic Sabha, which is largely supporting of the PPP, and then you have the other sector that is, Pandit, may can help me here, that Gaukran Sharma was part of, that supports the PNC. In the Muslim community, I think they're a little more unified than the Christian church. The Christian church is very, very divided among all these different denominations. And as you said, I don't think you can get all the denomination in the Christian community to come together to have to work together. Is that a possibility, or are we just living in La La Land?
I believe it's a possibility on the grounds. Jesus, when he was on earth and when he was leaving, he gave a command. He said, the gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the earth, and then I'm going to show up. The gospel of the kingdom, whether you are Baha'i, whether you are a Catholic, whether you're a Pentecostal, whether you're evangelical, the gospel of the kingdom that is in the Bible It brings us to a common ground. I was a part of a group that really promotes the gospel of the kingdom, and 7 days Adventists, different denominations within the Christian community. On that gospel of the ground, they came together and worked together. It unified them.
But before my co-host come on and Pandit, but Apostle, what you said there is universal. That's no religion in that, to help the poor and to take care of those in need. That's universal. Jesus' 2 commandments, which is the gospel, is to love God and to love your neighbor as yourself. He said, with those 2 laws, you don't need no other law. And that transcends all religion, I believe. So why, and my question to you, Pandit, and to Apostle, is that why don't we use those that unite us and bring us together rather than those that divide us, which the politicians love to do? And I thought that the religious, if God is one, and if God made religion, then something is either wrong with God or something is wrong with religion, because we are so divided. We look what happened in the Shia and the Sunni communities. They hate each other. Look at the different in Christianity. Look what happened to the Protestant and the Catholic in Northern Ireland. They hate each other, and these are all under God's children. So either God is crazy or man is crazy, and man-made religion has divided us rather than unite us.
Well, you have said the right thing. You have said the right thing. Man-made religion. Man-made religion. And I would like to say, before there was religion, God had a way and specified for man to live. Religion was just a way of bringing man into alignment until the fullness came, because it was kingdom first before religion. Kingdom before religion. God was the one that ruled the earth, and he had one way for man to follow. Man sinned, God set away, and then in a quest to know God or to worship God, there is where many religions came into being. Yeah.
Why don't you want to say something, Dr. Rose? Yeah.
Yeah, I want to make this point very clear. You and all of us know the world is characterized by the pairs of opposites. All of us would not agree on the same thing. Neither will we disagree on the same thing. You have soft, you have hard, you have hot, you have cold, you have the principle of the pairs of opposite will always be in effect. Will always be in effect, whether political or non-political or what's apolitical, it will always. You disagree with your children sometimes. I will disagree with my wife will disagree with me. We all disagree in our own homes, within our own family, within our community. But that does not necessarily mean disagreement should divide us. We can still disagree and allow disagreement to strengthen our relationship. In our home, we do that. It's not every day I agree with everything that is transpiring, but at the end, before I sleep, everybody is one family. So we cannot rule out the possibilities of disagreement, whether you have what you call the opposition or the proposition. We will always have that. Throughout the world, we will have that. People will agree, people will disagree. But then, as Apostle would have mentioned just now, that we must see grounds on which, and you have mentioned too, which we can work similar grounds, so that we will find a better way of subscribing, whether mentally, physically, culturally, socially, to our community. It is, and I love disagreement. I love it. I embrace it when people disagree with me, because disagreement for me is not, like I have lost anything. I am one of Swami Vivekananda's followers, and he said disappointment and failure should be considered sacred. When confronted and overcome it could only lead to greater benefits. So disagreement sometimes can be very, very helpful.
Dr.
It's
Rose?
not we are divided. Disagreement does not necessarily mean divided. That's my point. Because you're talking, I am, let's say I'm from the Virat Sabha. I have no problems with Dharmic Sabha. I have no problem with the Mahasabha. I have no problems with the Arya Samaj. I have no problems with the Pandits Council. We are all friends. We help each other. But we disagree at different levels, but that does not mean we are divided.
Well said, Pandit. Yeah, Dr. Rose.
Yeah, thanks. As we move on, Pandit, I want to deal with some practical questions. Now,
practical answer.
Pardon me?
Yeah.
In the Bible, they said that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. Is there an equivalent of Jesus Christ in Hinduism?
We don't have Son of God or only God. We have what you call the absolute God. If you want to call it God, you want to call it Ishwar, you want to call it Allah, you want to call it Ram, you want to call it Jesus. We believe in one thing, that there is one absolute source from which all of us come. We have our origin from. There are many in what you call, and I want to let you know this too, because when I used to go to school, we had a Caribbean readers, we had a Kate and Leigh and other books with stories in it. And stories create powerful impression, you know that. And for example, the fox and the grape, the hare and the tortoise, these are all stories that have morals and make sense at the end of it. Good teams. So in Hindu Dharma, those who didn't had what you call the intelligence to comprehend Vedic knowledge or Vedic science, this was broken down into Puranas, into stories. And these stories created impression. And in these Puranas, they would have mentioned, listen, Shiva is God, Rama is God, Shakti is God. You understand? To get people, what you call develop an underdeveloped mind, because we do have categories of people. Remember, you were talking just now, you asked a question about Brahman and Kshatriyas, and so specialization came out from Hindu Dharma. Specialization, skill and dexterity is a product of Hindu Dharma. Because if you want somebody to cut your hair, you would not go to a carpenter. You'll go to a barber. So it is indeed, I want to let you know that in the Puranas, they have many deities has been created for those who cannot comprehend Vedic sciences. For example, we go to school. All of us went to school. And then when you go to school and then somebody said, okay, Pythagoras theorem comes up, or algebra, sine, cosines, and so forth. Some students know about it, some students don't know about it. So what they do, those who academically passed, they went to university and had got profession. Those who failed still are not complete failures. They gone into trade, they gone into the field, they gone into farming, they still do something. So actually, if you ask me, if there is one, if we are to say, oh, if I don't believe in Rama, if that will affect me or hurt me, no, absolutely not. If I don't believe in Krishna, absolutely not. It will not affect me, it will not hurt me, it will not do anything to impede my progress to spirituality and enlightenment. I could do without them all. Because Hindu Dharma is about self-realization, self-awareness. Knowing yourself is knowing God. It's not knowing God, then know yourself. If you don't know yourself, you can never understand God. It's an introvert intellect versus an extroverted mind.
Agreed. Pandit, I read somewhere about a tradition. If someone died in a Hindu family, the eldest son has to shave his head. I don't know how many days after or what the time frame after that. Is that still being practiced?
It's a tradition. Mr. Rose, Dr. Rose, it's a tradition. Tradition and culture is two different things.
Right.
Culture allows one to explore his divine potential to the fullest. When I used to go to school, my headmaster name was Mr. Cumberbatch in common entrance class. And he told me he had for a proverb. And he said, good, better, best, never let it rest until the good becomes better and the better best. He accepts nothing less than the best. If you're in the field of athletics, you got to be the best. And I did that in Guyana. If you're in the field of cricket, you have to be the best. If you're in the field of golf, you have to be the best. You're the best father, best mother, best child, best neighbor, best friend, and best everything. And that is what makes our community and subscribe to the safe, a safer environment for all of us. You have to be the best in what you do.
Okay.
So it's vision differs than culture. Culture allows you to go. Tradition is what we keep as a part of our ancestral heritage.
It's not being practiced constantly today.
Oh yes, it's still being practiced. It's still prevalent.
Okay.
It's still prevalent.
I also read somewhere where when a Hindu gets married, well, not in North America, of course, but in Guyana and other parts of the Caribbean, where they always use bamboo to make their tent. I was told that bamboo has some significance to Hindus and marriage. Is that true?
If you want to enter in a marriage life, would you want it to be long or short? Would you want it to be straight or crooked?
You asking me?
Yeah.
I think I'm the one to ask you the questions.
No, I'm not a rhetoric. I'm asking you, if you enter into a marriage life, would you want this marriage to last very long and upright? Or do you want it to be, to go deviate or meander, what you want to call it? Bamboo symbolizes longevity.
Okay.
And it is straight and upright. If you're upright and your wife is upright and you're straightforward, your marriage will last long. If you become crooked, it will never last long.
Okay.
And bamboo represents production and productivity. You could put one bamboo here, and next year you go back, you'll find 10. Call it, let me say, put it this way, it enhances the growth of the population, production and productivity.
Okay. Now, cows are special to Hindus. Why?
Always. Always. Let us look at the cow. Let us look at the cow. From the time the cow, in our olden days, in my father's days, we used to use the cow or the bullock to take us into the field. We use the cow, the dung of the cow for our plants. My grandmother used to take that very cow mole and wrung it off and put it to dry and then use it in the fireside. The cow milk we use for our own self. The urine we use for the plant. Everything from the cow has been used and added to our self-sufficiency. And my grandfather used to say, you cannot be a namakaram even to beat the cow, because you're getting your milk supply, you're getting your meals, you're getting everything, you're getting your transportation, taking the boat to the Baghdad, everything the cow and the bull will do. So you gotta be a namakaram to hurt the cow. That's something that is doing good for you all the time. Destroy it now.
Okay. Now, Apostle McAllister, Obia is a folk religion practiced by Afro-Guyanese in Guyana. Are you aware of that?
Can you repeat that again?
Obia is a folk religion, or is a folk religious practice by Afro-Guyanese in Guyana. How is that?
Well, I don't know the statistics, but I know Obia, as we call it, is practiced by Africans, and it is getting more prevalent too. That even those who are not Africans are part of, say, where they're going to the Obia man. Right?
But in Africa, it's practiced as a celebration, but in Guyana, it's not practiced the same way.
Yeah, because of the dominance of Christianity.
Well, you tell us how it's practiced in Guyana.
Well, I basically can go into the fine details because I'm not a part of practicing Obia. But there are some things that they say they're connected to their ancestors. They're seeking to their ancestors. They're doing some traditional things, some tribal things that they say here, this is our culture, this is part of our life, this is where our foreparents came, this is what they were involved in. And that trend, they're calling it obia. They're calling it obia.
What is witchcraft?
Witchcraft is a way of is a science of doing something wrong.
Okay.
Some is an art of something, according to the Bible, is an art of something that you learn to do wrong.
Okay, now let me get to some technical aspects here. The Bible teaches us, or most Christians, that Adam and Eve were the first two beings on earth. Genesis said that. And they had children. How other people came on earth?
How did people came on earth?
How other people came on earth?
The way that other people came on earth is from Adam and Eve, or the repopulation or recreation or creation. Because as you know, there were lots of different dispensation that the Bible spoke about, the flood and different things. But there was a remnant left. And from that remnant, there is where population increased.
No, but they had children. So the population increased by the children?
Most likely it started that way, because if it started with two, it had to go from brothers to sister, and then as the population extend, it goes to auntie, daughter, uncle, son, and still it starts spread out because of population and the amount of people.
So that was incest.
Well, at that time, it was not incest. Things have evolved in many ways. Evolved in many ways. And
Pastor,
that is where...
I hate to interrupt you, but somewhere I read where the children of Adam and Eve went north and got married, meaning that there were other people on earth before Adam and Eve. My understanding is that Adam and Eve were the first two Jewish people on earth, and not the first two people.
I don't agree with you. Adam and Eve was two Jewish people. Because there was no Jewish people there. They were just creation, the first people that was created.
But the children didn't go north and get married?
Yeah, but remember now, there is an increase of population. The world has expanded. Look the world today to the world then. It has expanded. We didn't know about the Caribbean. We didn't know about...
I understand that, but they were the first two people. But they're telling, the Bible is saying that. What I'm asking you, were there other people on earth?
There were no... when you're saying they went to the north, that it did just come just so. They were age... when Adam children grew, they had to be decade span, and as decade go on, the world populate. So it does not say, well, as soon they just came into being because they had different people in the world. There was an expansion of a generation.
How did expansion came?
According to what I know, expansion came, and it shows in the Bible that brother marry sister, marry as they go on, uncle daughter marry uncle son. It is there in the Bible.
Okay. Now in Guyana, they had a Guyana Council of Churches. Is that still existing?
Yes, do. Yes, it do.
But is it as powerful as it used to be before?
Well, according to the laws of Guyana, the Council of Churches is what is really recognized by law in our constitution, how it is set up. Because it's more, when we check our background, the Catholics, there were certain laws that were set there, and it's still there because our constitution in many ways has not been revised.
You're the pastor of, or the apostle for the Kingdom of Dominion Global Outreach Ministry. How many members your church has?
My membership is about 500. I'm not as a single church, but I'm having outreach in other places.
Okay. And is your denomination of your church, are they providing help to the needy in Guyana?
Yes, in our own way. We are now a growing church, and we do help in clothing, we do help in food stuff, and there's a gifting that God has given me by I pray for people who will say demon possessed, people who are sick with different sickness, spiritual and physical things, and I've seen them really recovered. People in coma, 6 weeks, praying for them. Doctor gave them up, send them home to die. People with cancer being healed. People with possessed by demons being delivered. Constantly, I see that.
Okay. There's a question I want to ask you now. Pentecostal, you're a branch of the Pentecostal church, am I right?
I'm not a branch of Pentecostal. I will say I'm a kingdom church, because when Jesus came, or just before Jesus came on the scene, right? The forerunner, John the Baptist, said, prepare the way of the Lord, for the kingdom of God is at hand. And when Jesus was gathering his first 12, he said, when you pray, and one part of the prayer said, thy kingdom come and thy will be done on earth, carrying us back, way back from the first kingdom, from the beginning. So there are different experiences, and because of theology and different people, how they explain, I'm evangelical, I'm a Pentecostal. But in the true sense, being a Pentecostal, it is when, even before Jesus came on the scene, Pentecost was a Jewish festival. And why many Christians embrace and say, I'm Pentecostal, because the outpouring of the power of the Spirit of God took place on the day of Pentecost. So we go about saying, I'm Pentecostal. That is where the origin came from.
Okay.
But Pentecostal is not really linked with Christianity. It's linked with Judaism.
Judaism. Okay.
Yeah.
Charles?
Pandit, what role can Hinduism play in the development of Guyana, in the future development of Guyana?
Good question. Hindu contribution is very significant over the past, and we would have known that in every aspect of development in Guyana, whether it's sports, whether it's business or education, in every department, president, politics, everything. And with that in mind, we still have the capacity. I think now we have more brilliant people who would be more academic brilliance, people who are asking more questions than before, because when I was a little boy, I couldn't have asked so much questions. Now questions are being posted, and people have more inquiring mind as to where they could fit in which part of the development in our country, whether in the field of medicine, whether in the field of agriculture. Our country is advancing at a very rapid rate, and everybody, I think, will have an opportunity to be a part of that development. Nevertheless, the Hindus would not exclude themselves from that such a development, because I think we are geared, we are prepared to be a part of the development in every aspect. Because as a matter of fact, I want to let it be known that whether at university level, school, secondary school, primary school, we do have our kids attending schools. We do have our children taking that training. We do have them indulging in cultural activities. So definitely, through the mandirs, I must say this, not only at individual level, but through the mandirs, a lot could have been done. And I want to let you know too that mandirs for us, for me, I want to let it know, is not only a place of worship. It is a place where we educate our children. Is a place where we nurture them, we allow them to grow, we teach them values, principles, and even create small business for them so that they can become self-sufficient. So Hindu, don't feel that we are left behind, or we will want to be left behind. We just have it at the tip of our fingertips here, that yes, we are ready to go like everybody else.
Pandit, corruption is part of maybe human nature, I believe. And in the Hindu philosophy, it talks of karma, and whatever we do in this life, we have to come and reap it in a future life. So if we are corrupt, does that lead to a future birth of suffering and pain to pay for that corruption that we've been engaged in?
You believe I could suffer for your mistake?
No. Individually, not about my mistake. I'm talking about individually.
I am getting to the point. You see, there is something called karma, which you mentioned. Karma is not an action, and a lot of people think it is an action. It is that thought which influences the action. Sometimes, and I use the example, if I have to have a conflict with you and you want to violently chop me with a knife, you could chop out one of my finger with a knife, but your intention is to harm me, your intention was to maim me. But if I go to the doctor and I have little diabetes or sugar in the finger, the same knife is used to cut out my finger. One intention was to save and one intention is to harm. So is the intention that harms is the result of karmic intervention. So the world over has corruption. I know corruption is not only dealing with money and jobs and power. Corruption, you have it at all levels, home, institutions, all levels. So corruption is actually dishonesty. It is actually dishonesty. It is nothing more than that. So
okay,
this big one.
Okay.
Corruption is dishonesty.
Charles,
in our home, in everybody, you have some persons who will be dishonest. Your children may tell you, listen, I'm going to school, or I'm going to the mandir, I'm going to church, and sometimes they're in the cinema. That's in dishonesty, and that's corruption. It is prevalent everywhere. But everybody who is a part of that, definitely the rebounding law of nature will definitely take its course. Okay. So I don't have
this question from both of you. The Russian invasion of Ukraine. Do you support or oppose it, Pandit? And the same question for you, Apostle.
No, I have done some history in school. I have studied visual history of Africa, history of China, India, and all these places. I passed history in school, but I want to tell you there is nowhere war would have done any good to human civilization. There is nowhere anybody could show me where war has brought peace. When I say good, it means peace, stability to a nation or to a civilization. War is a product of greed for power and wealth. And once there is that greed, there will always be war. To remove war is to remove greed for power and greed for wealth. Nothing more.
But some will argue that the civil war in the United States brought peace and stability to the nation. Anyway, that's a different story. Pastor McAllister?
I don't believe that the invasion of Russia in Ukraine is totally right. What I believe, what the Bible says, in the last days shall be war and rumors of war. And this is a picture or an action of what the Bible predicted. And many might say they had wars before, but there are some particular things that God says about war and point out in the Bible, where we say in a prophetic way that this will happen at this time, at this junction, in this season. And though it's not right, one thing God does, He reigns supreme. He's all powerful. And in the playing out, I believe that God will show forth His power in that war for His people. God is the one who dictates who is His people. And one thing the Bible tells us, that when Israel, the full time came for Israel to be delivered out of Egypt, the Bible says God hardened Pharaoh's heart to show forth His glory. There are two kingdoms. There's the negative, if you want to put it this way, there's the positive. We believe that the positive ultimately will overrule over the negative.
Amen. And gentlemen, we have to bring this curtain down because we're out of time. We want to thank you so much for being with us tonight. In closing, Pandit, anything in closing, 30 seconds?
Thank you very much. I want to leave this message with everybody. Anything that is rooted in selflessness will free us here and the hereafter. And anything that is grounded in selfishness will bind us here and in the hereafter. Just be selfless in what you do, and everything.
Great lesson, Pandit. Thank you. Apostle, anything in closing, 30 seconds?
Yes. I just want to say for religion, the different religions, the major religions, Christianity, Muslim, Hinduism, I believe there's a common ground that we can find to work together, to bring more moral values, homes, building our society, helping out the less fortunate. I believe there's a great part that we can play. We can find a common ground to come together to work on those grounds.
And let's not just say it, Apostle, let's not just say it, but you and Pandit can take the lead now as we begin this program to make that a reality. And I really want to wish you guys all the best.
I'm willing to work along on those grounds.
Okay. Dr. Rose, anything in closing?
Yes, I was informed that the internet is being improved and the government offices are now open during lunch hour, but I'm not sure all of them do. The ones that are still closed should be open up. The internet, it shows it's improving, yes, but we need still better services. And I'm also asking for salaries to be for teachers, police, and nurses to be at least $125,000 starting. And that will stem the flow of people leaving or youths leaving and going to the Caribbean to work. Because, as I said, 7 persons I know, young people, have left the quarantine this month alone for the Caribbean to go and work there. So we should actually stop that by increasing the salary for these people to at least $125,000 starting a month. And that's reasonable.
Okay, Doc. I think it should be 1,000 US, but that's my view, which is about 200,000 Guyana. Should be a minimum salary. Gentlemen, Apostle McAllister, thank you so much. Pandit Prasad, thank you so much for being with us tonight. To our viewers out there, thank you. And to Devin and to Noah, we want to thank you guys. And don't forget, next week, Monday, we will start the program at 7:30, which is the same time Guyana and the US, because the time is going forward here on Saturday night. So good night, everyone. God bless our great country. God bless you, Apostle. God bless you, Pandit. And all the best to our people. God bless our great country. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you all.